Merry Marvellites. Today, we're talking Black Panther. We're talking Deadpool. We're talking Avengers, and a lot of very small news here on Marvel Movie News.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Marvel Movie News.
Should reflect the lack of news. It's all subdued. It's all like, we're building up and stuff. It's a bye week.
But yet it held a promise.
I really want them to know the scope but importance of the news.
Oh, of course.
So I feel like the lead-in should reflect that.
Yeah.
And that we're here, so Black Panther and Deadpool will be here.
There we go.
Whether or not they need to be, they're going to be.
Yeah, they got the fun and the gravitas.
They'll be mentioned. They'll be mentioned. So we are the Marvel Movie News, and we are coming to you live from, let's say, Wakanda today.
Yes!
We'll say, because of how
I
much I
always
enjoyed that
say
quote,
yes for that.
We'll say Wakanda today.
All right.
And
We're in Wakanda,
episode
y'all.
148, which means we are a mere 2 episodes away from a landmark 150 episodes of marvelousness.
Wow.
That is a lot. That's just that's halfway to Venom. So you can subscribe to us on iTunes at Marvel Movie News, or find us on youtube.com/Popcorn Talk Network. You can find us through Popcorn Talk's website, popcorntalknetwork.com. Follow us on Twitter at Marvel News PTN, or at the Popcorn Talk. Facebook, facebook.com/Marvel News Show. Follow us, like us, and if you post a link while we're talking to say people to come to the live chat, we will retweet you from Aunt Manthony, who's in the booth today.
Going, oh, Heather, there you go. I wasn't patched in, now I'm here. Hello, everybody. I'll be doing exactly what he said.
We did all the mic checks except for the man who's doing the mic checks. So we have kind of a small smattering of news today, but we have a glorious panel. With us, as always, is the lovely Markia McCarty.
Yes. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter, MarkeiaMCCAR2Y.
And then a new friend of the show and friend of Ollie Dreamboats is the lovely Rachel.
Hey everyone, I'm Rachel Goodman. You can find me on Twitter or Instagram at Rach Goodman, or on Facebook, yes, I'm still there, at Rachel Ann Goodman.
She's very brave. She's very brave, not only being on Facebook, but giving it out to the internet.
Yes, I do not give people my Facebook. It's only people I've met in life and that I know.
Yeah.
Well,
That's where all my political views go.
That's
So.
what I just cull my Facebook like once a year. I'm like, what have I done? Like every time I accidentally add too many people, like Facebook is it's sacred little bubble. Twitter's for everyone. I love you guys.
Yeah,
Facebook,
Twitter's cool.
You're brave.
Yeah.
You're very brave.
Well, it's my my other.
Oh, you got 2 Facebooks.
Yeah, so my private one and then my personal.
That's your fan page.
Exactly,
Your fan page.
exactly. So I don't care.
Because I got some crazy junior high school pictures I don't need the internet to see. So we're going to start, since I am leading this madness, but since Marquis is here, I figure we split the difference. Start with Black Panther.
Ooh!
Yeah.
See, even last week, Matt didn't do that. Came back from the desert and forgot to start with Black Panther. I'm never going to let it go.
Matt Key confirms Coy is better at hosting Black Panther. So Angela Bassett, who we all love dearly, the woman, speaking of gravitas and importance, when that woman speaks, you listen.
Yeah.
She told
If gods
Weekly.
exist on Earth, Angela Bassett's one of them.
I feel like she's like the Morgan Freeman voice of another side of the internet. I feel like Angela Bassett
Oh my God,
needs
that's
to
so
have
true.
that. If she speaks, I'm like,
It's like, yes, the world listens.
It's not a lot, but when she does, it's true.
When they inevitably remake Dogma, Angela Bassett is God.
Yes.
Sign me up.
Yes.
So in Talking Entertainment Weekly about Black Panther, she said, quote, I am so stoked, so thrilled. It is going to be absolutely amazing. I had a little word that as we're putting it together, it's just looking and feeling amazing, and I'm just glad that all that we felt while we were making it is really translating to the screen. So get ready. Get ready. It's going to be quite phenomenal. She does a lot of work. She makes a lot of movies, and it's very tricky to go from making Oscar films to blockbusters. So for her to be excited on the set and then to be more excited hearing about it off set, what do you guys think? It's pretty great.
And she's one of those people that if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Mm-hmm.
For her to gush like this means that this is really great. That this is landmark piece. This is something that she's proud to be a part of. And she's Angela Bassett. She's been a part of everything.
Well, like you're saying, it's not just, it's the usual actor MO, someone interviews, what do you think of that movie? The director was great. We had a wonderful time on set. I thought the script was really interesting.
Catering was fabulous.
All the buzzwords.
Yeah.
This is specificity. This is, it's vague enough to not give us anything, but it's also, she's hype.
When I saw her name in this too, I was like, interesting. I didn't even realize that So normally, I just have not seen her name actually bragging about something like this. Not bragging, but basically saying how wonderful it is, and it hasn't even come out yet.
Right.
It's gotta be good.
And we are approaching it quickly. Like, it felt like forever. Last year, it felt like it was so impossibly far away, and now it
Yes.
seems like the year has already ended. Like, this year flew by, and February's not that far off.
It's really close now.
Yeah.
And in between, we get Thor and we get Punisher to tide us over. There's a lot. We get, at some point, an Infinity War trailer.
Stranger Things is in there.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait for that.
My buddy's having a wedding on October 28th, and I'm so mad at him. Just because it means I
'cause,
can't be at home. I love you, Aaron, but I can't watch Stranger Things. So I'm going to be flying and then at a wedding, and I know the whole time I'd be like, don't judge social media. Don't, it's not worth it. So yeah, Stranger Things, Punisher, there's a world of entertainment on the way. But February, Black Panther, and Angela Bassett's excited, so you should be excited.
Oh, and I think Gamer Girl in the chat room said that Koi and Ollie were not introduced with your handles. That you were so excited.
I was so hype about Black Panther. I
Totally
assumed-
understand.
So I am Koi Jandro at CoyJandreau on Instagram and Twitter, and not on Facebook because I have to feed it. And as always,
Well, I'm just too famous. I don't need introduction. But
Don't worry about it.
if you want to follow me on all social media platforms at Ollie Dreamer. Yeah. But you
Yeah.
don't need that.
we should also note Ollie's fantastic shirt while we're giving him all this
Oh, yeah.
attention.
I was just looking
Look
at
at
that.
Yeah.
It's like,
Two
look,
references
what is it?
in
I
one.
don't listen to you anymore? Yes.
Street Fighter and Jessica Jones. Are you kidding me?
I'm just saying. As soon as he walked in, I just stopped everything I was doing. I was like, dude, yes.
Street Fighter fan.
Fatality.
So I wanted to give full credit to
Mortal
that shirt. So now as we restart the show with all introductions, this works. Now we got a Deadpool introduction.
There we
So
go.
welcome
It was
to
like a
Marvel
cold
Movie
open.
News. We did. We're both so
We did.
this is perfect.
There we go.
So Deadpool, as you guys know, is my boy, and I was not concerned about Josh Brolin. It just felt like the traditional choice, and I like more outlandish casting, especially when it comes to Deadpool. But Brolin, man, every image I see, every frame that gets released, that's Cable. That's terrifying. That's
Yeah.
intense. That's visceral and violent. And I'm really excited. And this being a promo still, like, I'm curious to see what Cable is, if this is any sort of like representation of the character.
Yeah, for our iTunes listeners, it's the black and white picture of Cable. He's shouting at himself in a smashed mirror. There's a brick behind, and it's primal.
It doesn't even look like Josh Brolin from that image.
It's right. It's and like the level of the blood, the gore, the hair. You're right. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like, is this Cable or is this Strife?
right. Well, that's the beautiful thing about Cable is the duality. Like, that's a great
Yeah.
point. Like the Strife on the left and Cable on the right. Or
There you
like
go.
I love the imagery of mirrors when they use them right. This looks great. I'm really excited for his take on Cable. I'm excited just to see a trailer. I'm excited to hear his voice. I'm excited to see how they shape what Cable is to Brolin, because that guy's been, I mean, he's in the Goonies. Like, Brolin's been killing it for decades. Since before a lot of us were alive, this man's been amazing in cinema. So I'm excited. And speaking of Deadpool, Zazie Beetz is talking about the fun she's having on Deadpool and how different it is. She said, quote, "It's hard. I've been training a lot, and I'm not naturally one to train at the gym, so it's been a learning experience. Honestly, it's been amazing watching Ryan do his thing, because you think, oh, he has a mask on and you can ADR all of it. He's generally incredibly talented and pretty impressive to watch," she gushed. "He's just really good. For me, this is the biggest thing I've done, so I've just been observing. It's been good. It's been a good vibe on set to observe some really talented people." And you don't think about that. Like, when someone gets cast, their past work and experience and like what it's like for them on set. You know,
Right.
like Atlanta was huge, but it was also a show, a sitcom, a smaller, like a TV crew. This is a CGI fest, and like the scope of the action and the scope
huge.
of, and it's a sequel, so they've seen the first one. They're like, we got to make bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always
So
bigger.
I'm super intrigued, and congrats to Atlanta for winning everything it deserved. Like, my God, is
It
that show
cleared
good?
it. Wow.
And-
I've got to finish watching that show.
It's so
I've only seen
impossibly
like the
good.
first 2 episodes.
Glover deserves those two, man.
Yeah.
Actor and director.
Nice.
So Zazie Beetz is incredible in Atlanta, but it's a very different tone. Like, Atlanta is a contained meta comedy. This is an action sequel to one of the biggest movies of last year. I'm really intrigued how that would be as an actress. Like, imagine just sitting there and be like, I went from Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool and Kip. Like, that must be insane.
Yeah, astounding.
So this quote was interesting to me, because I never would have thought of that perspective, as like just coming up in the industry and then landing on this kind of set must have been.
Yeah, because even if you are a star name and you're in a role like that, there's just so much work involved. Like I remember listening to an interview with Emma Stone,
Mm-hmm.
and when she was doing Spider-Man, and she was saying how much work she actually
Yeah.
had to do to stay in shape for that role, and she wasn't even Spider-Man.
Right. It's just it's a comic book. The bar is
Yeah,
set.
exactly.
And she's saying like it's not naturally how her MO. And I also thought the ADR line was interesting because a lot of people assume that the jokes are, they'll have some jokes on set. He's in a mask, they can throw it in later. It sounds like he's just always on, and then you get
Yeah.
more,
Doing it.
which is perfect. Like that
That's
character,
wonderful.
the Merc with the mouth, X-Men Origins Wolverine with the mouth. So moving on to Punisher.
I love that you said that like to the camera, like I see you, Wolverine.
I see you in the past. I see you, Fox, 10 years ago, learning lessons retroactively. So, Marvel's and Netflix's Punisher, we still don't know when it's coming out. And that's so fun to me.
Why are they
Yeah.
teasing us?
I
like
want it to
this?
just appear.
It's just gonna be like Beyonce. It's gonna drop right there on Netflix. So.
They're like, be ready for it.
yeah.
But they haven't done that yet. Like, Netflix has always
Yeah.
really hyped their release dates. They've always, we knew about the release date for Stranger Things like a year ago.
Yeah.
Are they
Trailer.
like they clue it to us? Like remember Defenders trailer, like that little teaser trailer when they're in the elevator, and then they had like a
Oh, yeah.
it stopped
The
on
transmission,
8/18,
yeah.
2017. So you
Right.
know, oh okay, that's
They
what
give
it
us a
is.
lot of runtime. And this is theoretically coming out before the end of the year, which is only 2.5 more months.
I mean, it has to be November. I keep
That's
on
what-
thinking because Stranger Things has October, so they would
Yeah.
want this to be November. They want people to keep on re-upping, right?
right. So
Maybe December, but oh, that's so late.
it's a weird movie the way it makes sense for November for Thanksgiving audiences. It makes sense for December for Christmas, that reprieve. But
Yeah.
I mean,
and isn't a Memorial Day or Labor Day in November?
Veterans Day.
Veterans
Veterans
Day.
Day.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Which would
I
be-
don't know
Yeah.
my holidays
Someone
until
in
I
the
get
chat-
the day off.
Someone in the chat brought up that last week about that possibility. Being
Right.
And I love
forget
that
who that
idea.
was, but that was excellent.
yeah, it's such a good theory because that's
Yeah.
that's now what I think it's going to be. Like to release it on
It's
Veterans
like,
Day with
oh, yeah,
the tone.
It's Veterans Day.
Well, and I think I heard rumored somewhere too that it was going to be November.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love that because that
I
would
mean,
mean.
Jessica Jones did. It was like November 20th or something.
So we start
I mean,
off
it would
November
make
with Thor.
sense.
We cap off November with Punisher.
Sounds like a good plan.
It's rough times, guys. Rough times. The nerds are really suffering.
Yeah.
So they recently released, without a release date, a synopsis. Usually they release. It's interesting. Usually I'd be like, they released a synopsis and a release date. Like they just are being sneaky. Like all the redacteds feel like what we're receiving as news. Like all the redacteds in that rundown. This is how we're experiencing it. They said, quote, after exacting revenge on those responsible for the death of his wife and children, Frank Castle, John Bernthal, uncovers a conspiracy that runs far deeper than New York's criminal underworld. Now known throughout the city as the Punisher, he must discover the truth about injustices that affect more than just his family alone. That sounds like the Punisher.
It does. Sounds like a man who's about to lose his family.
Again.
Again.
Well, and I like that they say become known as the Punisher.
Yeah.
I like it. I like that post X-Men, we've done a really good job, like not being like I'm the Punisher. Like we've done a really good job not making jokes about these weird names. Like the Juggernaut bitch line in X-Men 3 was a bit much for me. Like
Yeah,
that
I
just
don't remember
kind
that
of.
line.
There was that X-Men meme from the animated series.
Okay.
So someone dubbed over him running through stuff and always said, "I'm the Juggernaut, bitch." And for some reason,
Kind
they
of like
were
the Kool-Aid Man.
yeah. They decided, hey, in this X-Men 3, following 2 serious films, we should reference memes and become a laughing stock. X-Men 3. X-Men 3 didn't happen, you guys.
Yeah, I guess I
Yeah,
blocked out
it
most
wasn't-
of it.
It's the X-Men Origins Wolverine of the franchise.
Oh my gosh.
So that happened. So we're also learning that Punisher is to feature Turk, which is exciting because that character is so much fun in all these
Yeah.
this universe. Having him pop in, it's like reading that weird little panel in like old Spider-Man Tangled Web. Where you had that one character like, oh, I'm invested. So I'm glad Turk's in it.
Yeah, because if Claire Temple's like the Nick Fury, then Turk's like, I don't know, the Scorpion?
Soon, maybe.
Like soon, maybe.
Yeah.
It seems like they're gonna have that character,
He's
throughout.
the Coulson.
Oh, I like that.
Because
Yeah, I
we
like
follow
that
the
too.
criminal
I like that.
underbelly, so he's the guy that ties in that side together.
I
So
like
he's
that.
the Coulson.
Okay.
So over in Tumblr, a scan of the latest SFX magazine features a screenshot of Turk on the show. So if you guys have Tumblrs, we also have it right here for you guys. Turk has been in every Netflix show. Because he even pops up in Defenders and made me
Daredevil.
happy.
He was in
Luke
Defenders,
Cage,
definitely.
Yeah.
I think he's popped up in all of
I
them.
think he was in
Was he
Jessica
in Jessica
Jones. I'm pretty
Jones?
sure he was in Jessica Jones at one point.
Well, I'm sure chat room can tell us
Thanks,
definitely
chat
if he
room.
was in
Either
Jessica
way,
Jones. But
he's always been that like fun little moment, that fun little Easter egg, and his character always is like weirdly involved. Like he's got enough that he affects the story. So I'm excited Turk's in there.
Or he witnesses a big crime and is like, I'm good.
I'm good. I'm out, you guys.
This is not my table.
Imagine being Turk, like what your life would be like. Like everywhere I turn, these super powered assholes, they're just coming at me.
They're
Like,
just,
what do I
they're
do?
just here.
It's a weird
Again,
life.
it's like I'm just trying to make my green. Just trying to make my money.
Hell's Kitchen's a struggle, guys. And John Bernthal also revealed Macro's role to a point. He said, quote, good dramas when you take these hard life choices and force them to interact, and that's precisely what Steve did with Micro and Frank. Bernthal explained that he forces these guys who are so unbelievably different, who operate in such different planes, who have such opposite skill sets together. Interestingly, they have similar paths as far as their families and as far as the predicament they're in. They're sort of forced to work together, which sounds a lot like how the Defenders came together. So it's interesting that we saw the disc at the end of what show? My brain's blank. Daredevil season 2 when we saw Micro.
Okay. Yes.
So we had that moment of like, oh, that's what's going to be this show. So it's interesting to see like that origin story of how these guys come together.
But there's a little bit of a continuance.
I'm
in
intrigued.
there.
So someone said he doesn't think he was an Iron Fist.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah, he was not an Iron Fist.
Okay,
for
so
sure.
that's the
Okay.
one.
Well, that's okay. That one doesn't count.
What's Iron
He's
Fist?
in the shows.
Yeah, that's fine.
And finally, Bernthal teased a big surprise, big twists and big surprises. Quote saying the show takes you on a journey of Frank becoming more and more human again, and then shutting off and shutting off and going back to what works for him, the place where he kind of belongs. And I think there's a place of solitude and of darkness and destruction. It's going to get into as dark and as brutal place as you've seen in the Marvel world. I can promise you that.
Nice.
Good man. Punisher should speak that way.
Yeah,
Definitely.
out of the two, I mean, Jessica Jones was our R-rated. Punisher has to be our R-rated.
Oh, yeah.
It has to be,
I
yeah.
mean, it's just there's no, don't do it any other way. I mean, you could do PG-13, but no, don't do it.
It
any
would
other
be
way.
better to be as dark as possible and as,
Yeah, I wanna after the end of the episode just kind of like breathe and be like, should I continue?
I think that his darkness reflects where the show could go, like, and that's why I think Midnight Suns is the direction they'll go in, because I think as we learned, like, people loved this Punisher character. He didn't have his own show. He was greenlit because of how good John Bernthal was. So if this show is continuing that escalation of darkness, kind of like a sequel does, I'm intrigued by if they go Moon Knight, if they go like this darker path. So I'm hoping. So I think it's all the Punisher stuff. Anything else you guys want to talk about Punisher?
It's pretty good stuff. It's exciting.
Yeah.
I like the way that they're releasing things. Like they had the Morse code for the episodes.
Yeah.
So the internet had to like decode
Figure it out.
decipher it for us. So yeah, I like that. I wish they'd give us a release date so I can plan my November accordingly.
I like to think they already have, but we had to decipher it. We didn't.
I know.
I like
maybe
to think
they
they've
did
given
it.
us clues. We just
Maybe they
haven't.
did it at the very beginning and we just never. Somebody go through all of the Punisher tweets.
Everything. And like
All
all
the
of the
Punisher tweets and
magazines,
check.
there's like little tiny things that add up to like they're like all these quotes are actually just coded releasing the release date.
or it's like every other show had some kind of code you had to put together to figure out when this was actually going to come out.
Tell us, John Bernthal, you're right. So while we're discussing TV, The Gifted is around the corner, and it's another castmate as Jermaine Rivers is Shatter. Now, that's not a character I'm familiar with. I'm guessing it's either a lower level X-Men or invented for the show, as I know they're doing. Shatter's entire body is composed of blue-black, diamond-hard, crystalline substance, which renders him invulnerable to most conventional attacks. He can also regenerate lost limbs. He also possesses the ability to crystallize any liquid substance he comes into contact with, such as water, oil, and presumably blood.
So you would think
Interesting.
once he powers up, I mean, that's a great way to kill somebody.
Yeah, that's a pretty
Just be
violent
like-
end.
Be like, wait, I have the information you want. Let me touch you.
Well, he sounds like a mix of like Emma Frost and Iceman.
That's true.
I can see that, yeah.
Because Emma Frost's like Diamond Form plus Iceman's like Shatter.
Yeah, but it also seems like, despite the fallacy that they would have, like, if he loses something, then he can get it back. I mean, because I'm thinking like a Terminator 2,
Yeah.
when, you know, and he's like frozen and then they shatter him, like, because he can, you know, liquid back. But it seems like he'd be able to regenerate something as long as he doesn't lose his head.
I'm cool with some T-1000 action. I'm all about it. I love that like there's so many X-Men that can do everything if they don't lose their head.
Yeah,
Wolverine is
that's
cool,
just the
just don't
important
lose his
thing.
head.
It's like, yeah,
I think Deadpool's the only one that can come back from like atom size.
right.
Which is, yeah, my boy. Moving on to New Mutants. They've revealed a new logo, which they shared on Instagram. Josh Boone sent this photo to fans. It is exactly what you think when you think of New Mutants. It's the comic font. It's got a splash of color. It's pretty much identical to that late 80s New Mutants run. So, I mean, that's a great way to get fans excited.
Yeah.
So they're filming. It's active. It's New Mutants. I don't know much about this project, but I mean the team's great and the tone they're trying to establish is great. And the only way to get X-Men fans as excited as they need to be if they're going to build an entire shared universe is to keep it comic accurate. Like I think.
Yeah, well, they've got a great comic to go off of, you know. So I mean, refresh me, Demon Bear, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, they could go panel for panel with that, and they would be fine.
It's very strange. Like the comic's really weird, and that's great because X-Men started this Marvel age, like X-Men and Spider-Man, but X-Men had to be super normal in the 2000s because we weren't like adapted to this.
Yeah, we were like, what is this?
Like everyone was in leather because we were like,
they can do what?
And even the CGI just wasn't what it is
just
now.
weren't there yet.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think they had to like, you know, slowly get us to a level of acceptance to the weird that we're getting. And now New Mutants is like, okay, we've seen what you guys did with Guardians. Let's just have an X-Men version of Strange. And I think that's fantastic. So I think that's the way to keep that, because that's all Fox really has is the Deadpool, Wolverine, X-Men flavor. So they celebrate the end of filming. They are done. They are wrapped. There's a couple photos of Blue Hunt, Maisie Williams, Henry Zaga all hanging out. We have some photos of chairs.
Because that's exactly what you need.
In case you guys are wondering
chairs with
what
names.
chairs look like, those are them.
I was very curious.
If you've never been on a set or seen a set, chairs are on them.
Yes.
So that's pretty much all the New Mutant stuff. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I'm glad that they're done. So
Yeah.
cool.
Means sooner for us.
I know we can expect to see that in forever. It always feels like forever, but it sounds like a really great project. I'm interested, and I always liked horror. Big horror fan. Loved it. So, yeah, bring it on.
Yeah, they're already done. Like I feel like they just started now. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of post production. There's a lot of world to do, but and they were filming in Boston.
Imagine the CGI. I mean, you can't really
Demon
go
Bear.
too practical effect with Demon Bear.
You just gotta find a demon bear. They're hard to catch, but when you find one, great on sets. Infinity War has cast. I am sorry in advance for not being able to pronounce his name. Hiroyoku Sanada. Seems like.
I would think Hiroroki, but I don't know.
Thank you.
Hiroroki Sanada?
But that name, the guy is great. He was in Life. He was in The Last Samurai. He stole the show in Life, and he was with Ryan Reynolds and Jake Gyllenhaal, which is quite impressive. He's an incredible actor. We don't know what role he's been given. We just know it's a supporting role. We theorize that he might be a member of the Yakuza, because that's the direction that Infinity War might go. There's so much we don't know about Infinity War. Like, this is
Yeah.
the
And
deepest...
it's what, May?
Yeah.
May of next year.
Which
like
also
May 5th, I
isn't
believe.
that far away.
No.
at this
It
point.
isn't.
It's, what,
It isn't.
8 months? And that's... We don't know anything.
No.
We haven't seen an
even
official
gotten a full
trailer.
trailer for Black Panther yet.
Yeah.
And that's February.
Good Marvel, thank you. I like this. I like not knowing everything going into these movies. Like, that was that run into Phase 2, and Marvel was like, but what if we show you everything? Like, Age of Ultron kind of suffered for the fact that we'd seen so much.
Yeah, and it just couldn't live up to everything at
Right.
that point. Really, is I would like to think was the main thrust.
Yeah,
of
I just feel like
Age of
Phase
Ultron.
3 has been stronger than Phase 2.
I
Winter
agree
Soldier
with you.
notwithstanding, and Guardians, obviously, there's highlights in Phase 2, but as far as marketing, Phase 3 has been much stronger for us. Like, we do this, we have to know everything because we're telling you guys everything, and we don't know.
Yeah, they're doing really good at frustrating the want.
Yes.
They are.
More of that. Delayed gratification. Thank you, Marvel. A new casting call for Mary Lou in Infinity War, which is Infinity War's
Ooh.
working title. Which
The chat room just brought maybe he's Namor.
oh, I would love that so much.
That would be cool.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, well, I would like Namor to be introduced because then the Black Panther sequel can have him in there.
Yeah.
Get some Necropolis action.
And I would
know?
love Namor to be like a supporting character that gets his own, like, he starts with us so we care about him instantly, and then we get his own, like, independence. It'd be hard to introduce Namor in his own movie.
Yeah.
It'd be hard to get audiences
would.
to be like, hey, we got this fish guy. and with Aquaman coming out, like, the average everyday
and
moviegoer.
that's Jason Momoa. So
Yeah, the difference there.
That's a very high bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we
I
accept
got a
that.
thing for Jason Momoa. If you can tell,
Everyone should.
they should.
Yeah.
yeah.
Jason Momoa as Aquaman is such an inspired choice, and it's hard for an everyday moviegoer not to see the difference between Namor and Aquaman. Like, if you don't know these
Yeah.
characters, why wouldn't you assume that's...
That's the same one. Be like, why do they have the same character? Why does he got a different name?
Yeah.
Why is this a different guy?
It's jarring. and I get that. I totally understand. If you're not a comic fan, they're a lot alike.
Yeah.
So it'd be a good move to introduce him in Infinity War, and that is a great call. Man, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Shame for Daniel Day Kim though. If it
Yeah.
because he's been petitioning for that for like a decade. It feels like,
And he's
or
perfect
at least
for it.
8 years.
Yeah. Time will tell.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I can't think of any other character. I mean, can you? I mean, I can't think of any other character. I mean, that was a really good suggestion.
That was a great one. Yeah, now that's like just planted in my head and I can't really shake it.
Who said that? I want to give them. Oh, Oysen McMahon. McMahon? Is it like the wrestling McMahon? All right, thanks for that suggestion. Good suggestion.
Someone in the So Large Knowles referred to Jason Momoa as Jason Mom, and it was very distracting in my brain. It's really funny to me. I like the idea of calling him Jason Mom casually. So Georgia's Central Casting released a breakdown which seems to indicate a 1960s flashback scene. Yes. They're looking for secretaries, women who appear to be Caucasian, 20s to 50s, to portray 1960s secretaries and clerks. No hair dye, no modern cuts or colors, very specific. And also looking for female engineers, basically the same rundown, in a very small scene they specify. I'm curious if it's an Ant-Man throwback. That's my thought.
That would make sense.
Because Ant-Man plays with time. Ant-Man's obviously going to be in Infinity War. This could be the Michael Douglas scene. It would make sense. That was my first thought, if they go 1960s.
Yeah. Or I wonder if they would ever bring Peggy Carter back and go back for that reason, too.
Ooh, I'd like that.
Yeah.
That's a lot of story.
Yeah,
but I'd like
is.
that. I mean,
But
she's been in all these, but I would love
that.
Someone in the live chat just said, breaking news, looks like Daniel Cudmore is returning, who played Colossus for X-Men Dark Phoenix. Awesome. Which is interesting because they're playing with timelines so much.
Yeah, he was the
they always
he was the original.
Yeah.
And, wow, that's crazy.
So that's a lot of timelines. Still in great shape.
I know, right? That's like 10 years.
That's longer. If he was Because that was the early 2000s for the original X-Men. So, yeah, I think he had cameos.
Goodness.
Cameos got a bigger part.
Yeah.
Like X-Men 2, he was bigger because he was in the Berserker scene. So, 2000, I mean, that would have been 2002?
Yeah.
Good for him. Hustling. Staying at the gym. And then Brie Larson was also spotted on the Avengers 4 set. So, that means we have quite the movie. Captain Marvel, we assumed was involved. Now we've seen photos of her there. No photo of the two stars is revealed. Local Twitter account basically said they were seen entering back and forth. Lack of paparazzi. Also good news. Thanks,
Maybe
society.
she was just on set.
It's possible.
Yeah, like what they did with Michael Rooker with Yondu. Didn't they do that with him just being there?
Which?
Wasn't it with the Avengers Infinity War?
Might have been.
That he was just like on set?
Yeah, just to
cool.
hang out. But I want her to be in Avengers 4.
Yeah.
Like, she has to be. She is.
And they also film all these in like a giant, like Pinewood Studios is enormous. She could have been filming any number of things.
Yeah.
And just like been on set. And like the Marvel family is so tight knit, it makes sense she'd visit if not.
Yeah.
So it's by no means confirmation.
Yeah, and get herself a cap.
Yeah.
I still wanted a little picture though.
If Chris Evans is around, you go hang out on set.
Right.
Right. And Paul Bettany shared a behind-the-scenes photo. Paul Bettany, just this image, it's so good.
Wow.
Apparently Mark Ruffalo took this beautiful image. It is Vision, for iTunes listeners, it is Vision with reading glasses, taking notes on a script, and it not only shows amazing like sense of humor that reflects the comics, but it also shows how much practical. Like, that's Paul Bettany as Vision, and it looks just like Vision.
Yeah.
Like, the costume designer, wardrobe, makeup, good job, guys.
Gorgeously
That's amazing.
Like that, I would have assumed that was CGI. Like that amount, that scope.
And it's just so he just took the picture with like a cell phone.
Yeah, like Mark Ruffalo's like, that's funny.
Say cheese.
Like that looks like a comic still. Like
It does. I mean, you kind of see like it's a la Beast, you
Yeah.
know, where he's got the reading glasses, and it's just like he's still a big furry animal, but
Yeah,
he's still a
exactly.
guy in there.
because Vision's such an intellectual character, it
scientist,
plays
yeah.
with like so much, and Paul Bettany, like it's very, I love it.
He's such an interesting character too, in general. So
Yeah.
And I love that shade of like fuchsia.
Yeah. Yeah, Vision's history is insane, and I'm really curious how they shape him with Scarlet Witch. We know there's a romance and all that, but either way, Avengers. I mean, those 3 and 4 are going to be enormous.
Yeah, definitely. And it's funny too because like he's supposed to be kind of like this almost perfect character, and he's wearing reading glasses.
That's a good point. It was like in X-Men 1 when Sabretooth like roared, you could see his fillings and caps in his teeth, and I was always like, but he's a mutant. They know it back here. Fun fact, that bothers me 17 years later.
Too much
it's like,
candy?
What dentist would put his hands anywhere near that mouth?
There's so much, you guys.
like,
There's so much
none.
wrong with that moment.
Yeah.
Bryan Singer didn't realize that 17 years later, that'd still be a problem. Jessica Jones has officially wrapped filming for season 2, 5 months after it began. Both Kristen Ritter, who plays the title character, obviously, and newcomer Diane Gibson took to social media to celebrate the completion of production with season 2 wrap party shirts that are adorable. Look at the cuteness.
I need one of those shirts.
Yep. He's got to go right next to that one in the closet, man. I get it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's one of the few times that it's really cool to wear a shirt that has your face on it.
Yeah.
You know?
But
Yeah, it's socially acceptable here.
Yes.
because it's Kristen Ritter. She's phenomenal. I allow this.
Yes. These are moments. Oh, and someone asked about the dots on his face, why it doesn't have dots for the CGI for that Vision photo. Basically, I'd imagine, like, long distance, you wouldn't need to have all the augmented moving stuff. Like, basically all the channels of electricity on the Vision. So this would be most of the time he's shooting. And then that's what's showing how great the prosthetics and practical effects are, is they didn't need that.
Yeah.
So you'd only use those for maybe when they did close-ups and things like that. So there is no augmentation in this type of shot, which is cool.
Yeah, another question with that is he still has the Mind Stone in that picture, something that looks like it. So, like, when was this picture taken? Is this for Avengers 3 or 4?
Very interesting point. And you can tell that the cape is going to be CGI augmented because it's a different color.
Yeah.
So little details like that, but still, like, the makeup department, kudos, guys.
Yeah. And what's he signing?
Appearance waiver, toy, lots of checks. Thor Ragnarok basically changed after Taika Waititi was hired because that man has a very specific comedic voice, a very specific tone. He was talking to Collider and said, quote, "There were already stories, ideas when I came on board, but a lot that changed over the first 3 or 4 months. Right from the beginning, Marvel wanted to lighten Thor a little bit and embrace the darker aspect of the adventure. The last 2 films, definitely the last film, were a little darker. Quote, personally, I feel like the movie called Thor, then Thor should be the best character. My main focus was making him cool and funny, and when he needs to be heroic, and he needs to be heroic when he needs to be. If you've seen my other films, there's always a balance between comedy and drama. I think that's a very satisfying story to watch." It's hard to read quotes sometimes. I think Ragnarok was always going to be very dark, so bringing in someone with this levity is the only way to make it still Marvel.
Thank goodness they did, because Dark World.
Yeah.
We didn't
Right
need
there in the title.
Yeah, we didn't need a Thor Ragnarok that was following on the coattails of Dark World.
Yeah.
Like that. We really didn't need that.
Yeah.
Now, what we do need is a 70s, 80s music video, you know, with Jeff Goldblum and John Cena there somewhere. So, yes, this is what we need.
I'm glad
Looking
it
forward to
changed, and I'm glad they went that direction, because this is so many people's most anticipated movie. Like, it's a lot of hype, and it looks great.
Yeah, November 3rd. Like, this I'll be spending IMAX on.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I want to experience this multiple ways. Like, I'll be there a lot. So, yeah, I'm glad they let him have that freedom, because that's hard for a studio investing hundreds of millions of dollars to be like, sure, make it your
Like,
own.
we believe in you. I saw Hunt for the Wilder People.
Just go.
do your due.
And it seems like everything we've seen is that tone. So I'm excited. And then finally, Stan Lee had a very interesting thing to say at Wizard World Nashville, saying, quote, "Sooner or later they're going to get the rights back to all our characters. They're working on it, and they're still making X-Men movies and stuff. Don't worry about it. You'll get more Marvel superheroes than you have time to look at in the next few years."
Thank you.
This is by no means any sort of news, but that Stan Lee is adorable.
Yeah. You met him.
I did. It was.
You
Yeah, that was
did.
right before. Yeah, I haven't gotten to talk about it yet.
Yeah.
'Cause then I was gone.
I think this is a perfect time for you to talk about you
So
meeting
let me
Stan
say,
Lee.
Stan Lee is a national treasure. And like, there's this thing when you meet certain people that their energy and their glow and their charisma is overwhelming, and that is Stan Lee to a T. The man is in his 90s and kept up on stage for 2 hours and was funnier than most of the presenters.
Wow.
I was at,
Nice.
it was like a Lifetime Achievement Award, and they had the best of the best. They had entertainers, they had comic legends, they had people that have, like, Lou Ferrigno, like people that have been affected by his career in every type of way, and they'd come out and they'd make a joke, and Stan Lee would have a better quip back. And he's in his 90s.
Oh my god.
Right.
Yeah.
And, like, it was so cute at one point, like, Chris Hardwick tied his shoes, and he was like, "I'm not that old." Like, there was this amazing flavor of, like, self-aware, beautiful, funny, and so there was a line to take a photo with Stan Lee, and everyone was, like, posing with him, and, like, very quick, and, like, being very respectful, which was nice to see. But I was like, this is my only moment. Like, I'm never gonna be this close to Stan Lee in my life.
No.
So I ran over, and instead of, like, posing next to him, I dropped to one knee and, like,
Yeah.
spun And like he
Yes.
started laughing, and he was like, "Oh, very good, young man, very good." So like, and it took a second for like the world to normalize, and I was like, "What's happening?" He's like, "What's happening?" So then Stan Lee does the Spider-Man pose with me. So I have a picture. So I have a picture of me and Stan both. And then as I got up, I was like, "Thank you so much, man. You gave me my childhood." And he's like, "Oh, just excellent Spider-Man, Excelsior!" I got Excelsiored by Stan Lee, and it was the coolest moment. Yeah, it was amazing, and the event was incredible, and I kept getting stuck behind Lou Ferrigno because he's a very big guy. So we were in the green room like with all the swag bags and stuff, and Lou Ferrigno was just taking up so much space because he's actually the Hulk. But yeah, it was incredible, and Stan Lee is everything you dream him to be. Like Stan Lee is every grandpa you want. That's brilliant.
Oh, nice.
And all the stories about how he invented these characters all came from a place of earnesty. RZA came out at one point and did a spoken word poem about equality, the importance of everyone being represented, and it sounded like something Malcolm X said. And then at the end, he was like, "That was Stan Lee in the '60s." So like he came out and basically battle rapped a Stan Lee quote, and then was like, "This man was doing what we need to be doing now in the time of Mad Men." And it was amazing to be like, Stan Lee is so woke. Like it was just it was amazing. Stan Lee is everything I want him to be.
I think I read somewhere too that it was back in either the 40s or 50s. He got fan mail. He started getting fan mail from across the world.
Yeah.
And that's when he realized, well, everyone's interested in this. I need to represent everybody.
And he did.
Yeah, and people weirdly think that representation is a new thing. It's not. They're forgetting that Cesar Romero and Eartha Kitt were the Joker and Catwoman back in like the 50s. This isn't a new thing. It's a thing that got pushed to the side for it feels like a good decade or so. But it's like, bringing it back in.
Well, what was amazing to me was the fact that Black Panther came out before the Black Panther movement. And then they changed Black Panther's name to Black Leopard because they were like, "Whoa, a little intense for us." So like, it was cool to see Stan Lee, his effect on every decade, and just to have him talking about it. And it was Stan Lee's great. That said, this quote. I don't think Stan Lee's involved in that side of the movie making. I don't think Stan Lee has time because he's busy being awesome all over the country. So this is a quote saying basically they're still making movies. There's going to be a lot of Marvel characters. This is by no means any sort of sneaky insight into X-Men coming back because I don't think he'd know. And he's also like the happiest to tell secrets. I doubt they'd tell Stan Lee. Like Stan Lee's the guy to be like, "Yeah, let me tell you something." Like, because he just wants to share and love and care. And if he had 5 hours, he would have talked to each and every person in that line.
Wow.
Like it was the coolest thing.
I got a question for you. Do you guys want to see Leonardo DiCaprio play Stan Lee?
Yes.
Yeah. In a biopic?
Yeah.
What do you guys
like
think
a
about
Howard
that?
Hughes-esque biopic?
Yeah.
I would love that.
I guess I could see that, yeah.
It would make, I want to see him as both that and the Joker. If they're going for it, go for it. That's going to happen.
Oh, yeah,
That's
I
the
forgot about
rumor.
that. Yeah.
That's
So
how they
he's
got,
going to play the Joker?
because
Wow.
Martin Scorsese is producing a Joker movie, which is a sentence I never thought I'd say. So, maybe. So I think that's all of our news. You guys have anything you want to...
I do believe it is. And I think... Oh, God, chat room. Okay, 60s instead of 50s. Goodness. All right. Thank you for the correction. No, I guess it's just like the Merry Marvellites section then.
Let's give him some love.
All right. So, shout outs. Charles Lee at GoofyFan_Chuck. Evan at Harris EV9. Shane Pickett at DadRad4. Bark at birds_ what are they?
Every week.
Stephanie Jandro at Steph Amethyst.
Every day.
Mike Clark at Nonviolent69. Dayton Buchanan at Dayton Buchanan. Oh, so we have a series of birthday shout-outs. It looks like. Do you want to do
Much
it all
like my mother, these mothers were busy in September.
Oh, goodness. So yeah, it's a few. Do you want me to read these off and then we just do one sexy birthday shout-out for all of the above? Or do you want to do 3 sexy birthday
I think we got time for
shout-outs?
3.
All right. Then our first one, Bob Hugh Simon. This is from YouTube. Can I get a coy sexy B-Day shout-out? I turned 44 on September 11th.
Babu.
Oh.
I just got to say that much like a fine wine, 44 just looks good on you.
Yes,
Ooh,
it
it's a
does.
good year.
It's got double numbers. It's got strength. It's got wisdom. It's got sexy.
Angles in all the right places.
So have a very, very sexy birthday.
44.
Beautiful.
And
2 years of being embarrassed by this bit.
And then Cole Canaletti, can I get a birthday shout out? My birthday was on the 15th. I believe I asked for a sexy shout out from Matt for me and Coy since we have the same birthday. So unfortunately, Matt isn't here today.
I was gonna do a Matt impression, but I couldn't think of what it would be, and then I realized it was like a weird like Nick Offerman meets JJ Jameson impression, which isn't Matt at all.
Do you want to try it? But you have to do that.
I'm gonna give a sexy Cole shout out.
This is for Cole Canaletti.
Cole, you and I have the same birthday.
Oh,
If that ain't sexy, I don't know what is.
oh, same day.
I mean, you make great art. It means you're creative. You like comics. And marry me.
You know how to wield that pencil, baby.
So a very, very happy birthday, Cole Canaletti.
Ooh.
Oh.
I
Draw
got.
me,
The pencil line was so good. I got nothing. I
Happy
can't.
birthday.
Marquis has taken over this bit. It's hers now.
And then our last one, Elephantaneous24 is a YouTube.
That name is so good.
Hey guys, my birthday is next Tuesday on the 19th. Oh, today! And I was wondering if I could have a birthday shout out on the next show. It marks 1 year of me being able to watch most Marvel films. I'm turning 14. So,
Dude, that's adorable.
Yeah.
Elephantaneous. That's not sexy.
Elephantaneous.
Elephantaneous, that is an incredible name.
Yeah.
You are turning 14 today.
14 today.
Dude, I
Oh my
remember
God.
14. You guys
That is
remember
so-
14?
I remember 14.
Oh, let me try to think. 14. Oh, geez. I think I lived in Iceland then. No, no.
14, man.
14. Aunt
14
Anthony.
and Cole.
We cut this off at 17.
Yeah, that's a hard out.
That's a hard out.
Even
That's
in
17.
Canada, 17's risky.
Yeah. 18 and up. Okay, so
Elephantaneous, great name.
Yeah.
You're wise beyond your years. 14
Yes,
is
you
the
never
first
forget.
year I feel like I thought I was an adult. That's why it stands out to me. Like 14, I was like, Psh, I got this. I'm driving soon. So like 14, remember you're 14.
Yeah.
But dude, that's awesome. Welcome to a year of watching us since you were 13. That's so rad.
yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us for all this time. I mean, the 13 to 14, those are a heck of years. I mean, think
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Stephen King writes about those years
For a reason.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of ups and downs.
Every coming of age movie makes sense right now to
Yeah.
you. Go watch Kings of Summer. The world will make sense. That's awesome, man. Happy birthday today.
Absolutely.
Keep reading comics. Keep reading.
And keep watching us.
Yes, yes.
We'll keep reading comics along with you.
Yeah.
All right, and then we have Vegetable Tube, also YouTube. love Marvel movie news. Short,
Thanks.
sweet, very nice. All right, so questions from Robert Lima at Rob World Eater. Will there be time travel in Infinity War?
There could.
There could, but I don't think it's. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think they need to do it at all. There will be so much. There will be so much that you'll wish that there was time travel.
Yeah.
So that you could go back to change things, but it'd be too late because they'll already be dead.
Yeah, I think it's going to be more just that flashback. And also, I noticed something on that link that was dealing with the casting call for the 60s. It actually had Peggy Carter's name in the title.
Ooh.
So that might be a hint.
That is intriguing.
Yeah, it's like right in the link.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's intriguing.
So
Maybe
why
that's a
would they
thing.
do that if there was no Peggy Carter involved?
That's a good point.
Yeah, that'd be good, especially if they want to like bring her show back to kind of like showcase her more.
Yeah.
And
Is that
see-
a rumor? Is that a thing?
Yeah, I've heard that a lot.
I've heard they're still trying to get that. Yeah, like,
Season 3.
Intrigue.
Yeah, I never actually watched it, but I hear such great things.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
But
because I know
they-
you're an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan, correct?
Yeah, exactly. That's
so-
my favorite is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Oh my god, and Coulson. Oh, but anyway. Yeah, they ended Agent Carter on such a cliffhanger that they need to bring it back.
I think that time travel in Infinity War would be like too much. I think we learned through that bath sequence in Age of Ultron with Thor that messing with time and space and stuff can be jarring if you don't have time to invest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You really need to like let that like percolate. Without that, you're just like, where am I? What's going on? I'm over here. Okay, good.
Yes, I
so-
think instead we should focus on the futility of these heroes that we've lived with for like the past, decade, not being able to destroy or even dent this overcoming force, and all of them dying. I think we should just focus on that for Infinity War.
It's coming.
It is. I keep on saying this, but I just kind of want to prepare you for it.
Yeah.
Like, you might think I'm kidding. I'm not.
People are gonna die.
I'm not. Read the comics.
Yeah, and actually the next person relates to that too. The flashback, maybe Crossbones.
Yeah. Ashley Hutchins.
Yeah, Ashley Hutchins. I don't think it's a flashback. I think, well, the Crossbones, I think it's gonna reference something. I don't think it's gonna be a true flashback. I think we might
Right.
see more of a scene. They also might be referencing like the event that led to the Civil War. Like it might be like something that's
Right,
because that
something
was
like
the
that.
moment that led to a thing. So maybe they're shooting it from a different angle. I just don't think they're gonna. We don't have time. This movie's already gonna be 8 hours long.
Yeah.
Well,
Hey, I would not have a problem.
I mean,
with that.
I'm in. Give me the
You should make
Netflix
it
series
20.
in theaters of Infinity War, and I'm there. 8 hours of that. Take me.
Definitely.
man. But yeah, I think that is just about it. Unless there's anything else that anybody like question wise. Ollie.
Anything in the chat?
Well, shout out to everyone in the chat who are affected by like the weather. I know
Yeah.
Senor Nerd. He says, "Hey, Mary Marvellites, don't worry to sadden people here, but I live in Puerto Rico and we are preparing for when Hurricane Maria comes by, which is now a Category 4. So shout out to him. Hope he's safe.
Goodness.
Yeah, man, batten down the
Yeah.
hatches.
Yeah, because
Do that.
I don't
Take
know
all
what,
take all the precautions. You know, the water, the candles, all of it.
Absolutely. So much going on in this world. I don't know what's going on. There's fires everywhere. There's hurricanes.
Yeah, I
It's
came
just
back
sad.
from
I know.
Burning Man, and LA
There-
had been on
Yeah.
fire.
There was an earthquake.
There was an
I never
earthquake.
feel
I
them.
never feel them.
I never feel them.
I get a little jealous because I don't want to be hurt. But if everyone's
Yeah.
okay, then I get jealous.
Funny story. So I've actually felt an earthquake, but not here.
Oh.
Before I moved here, back in Philadelphia, they had an actual earthquake. So it's funny because it's like, all right.
You
they-
moved to a earthquake land and having fun.
Yeah, and
No.
then have fun.
Exactly.
Was it an earthquake, or were they digging for dragons?
Take a
But-
drink.
Anyone?
The dragons are now in LA. oh
That's
no.
where all the dragons are. That's why there's all the earthquakes.
Well, makes sense. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe
guess,
it.
I guess. I mean, I'm trying to scroll for any other questions. Thanks, Scott Fitzgerald. I love my hair too. Yeah, I don't see any other questions. So, I mean, yeah, be safe in this weird weather and this weird climate stuff that's going on. I mean, my parents are old hat at it. I was like, oh, be careful, Hurricane Irma. They're like, oh, please. It's like, you're precious. Like, we're in Orlando. We're fine.
Yeah, actually, some people I know in Florida were like, nah, we're not even leaving. They're
it's like-
fine, but
Yeah, it's intense. So, rumor is September 29th, Infinity War trailer. A lot of people in the live chat keep mentioning it. So, on the
not
internet,
true.
September 29th.
I think that's too good to be true.
I think-
I want it.
I think I would like that to be the Black
Yeah.
Panther
Yeah,
trailer.
yeah.
Let us not forget Black Panther.
No, that's way more
Us
realistic,
not.
and it's February. Like it's around the
Yeah,
corner. So
it's like right there.
we'll see. Anything else?
Not that I know of. Also, old school futuristic. He was also going through like power outing in Florida because of all the things that's going on there. So please, everyone, stay safe. This world's going crazy.
Yeah, everybody stay safe. Keep reading, keep watching, keep loving your family, keep telling everybody. And yeah, where can
and stay world aware.
yes. So where can we find you? Start with Ollie since I forgot in the beginning.
It's fine, it's fine. Guys, follow me on all social media platforms at Ollie Dreamer. And if you like cosplay, follow me on my cosplay page on Instagram at Ollie Cosplays. And also, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to be playing that. Shout out to y'all.
What?
It's all y'all gamers.
Find him on the
Nice,
internet.
Yeah. Make an awesome cat. That's my PSN. So yeah.
Yeah, and Rachel, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you,
know,
Rachel.
Thank you,
hanging with
guys.
us.
Thank
I love
you.
Rachel.
I love Ollie too.
So happy you're finally here.
Yeah. But yeah, this has been awesome. Thank you guys for having me on the show. If you guys want to look for me, I'm on Instagram or Twitter at Rach Goodman, or on Facebook at Rachel Ann Goodman. I am also on the Ray Donovan AfterBuzz show on Tuesday, so tonight at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Or if you like soap operas, I host the Young and the Restless soap with AfterBuzz on Sundays at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Okay, and I'm Markeia McCarty. Find me on Instagram and Twitter, MarkeiaMcCarty. And yeah, so Mondays, AfterBuzz TV, catch me on WWE Raw After Show with Johnny LaQuasto, Hobo, and Mark. Watch for Hobo if not anything else. So yeah, we talk wrestling and everything that's great. And then, of course, here on Tuesdays. And then I just finished the Mae Young Classic After Show with AfterBuzz TV, and I do that with Anissa Barr, TK Trinidad, and Denise Salcedo. So yeah, check that out and hit me up on Twitter. Let's talk some Mae Young, Kairi Sane, and Shayna Baszler, and all the good stuff.
And you can find me at COYJANDREAU on Twitter and Instagram. And on Instagram, I do Insta reviews, which you guys have been awesome at suggesting things to talk about. And I've got some really cool stuff cooking up that I can hopefully talk about a little later in the fall. But most importantly, thank you all so much for the birthday love. My birthday was on the 15th with Coles, and you guys were great on Twitter and sending me stuff. And I'd like to thank specifically Wildebeest, the artist that sends us stuff all the time. He sent me the most amazing birthday photo that I'm gonna send to the producer for next week, and it's literally like a Marvel Easter egg nest of things. There's nice. Thanos and Yondu like on the window. It's amazing. So thank you so much. And Matt should be back, and we didn't kidnap him, and he's here in spirit. But so that's all the news this week, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks, guys.
Hey.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.